That new Tyler Perry movie that came out, Mea Culpa, on Netflix. And if you've been riding with me, you already know that I am not a fan of the Tyler Perry's movies, because Tyler Perry always does this thing where he just makes women look terrible. There's never a woman champion in his movies. It's always a victim man. It always is. There's always a woman who cheating on a man who trying to do his best, and she just fall victim to some other dude and just have sex with him, and the sex is so good that she just lose her mind and want to be with him and don't care if her husband is happy or not, and then she try to humiliate him in some type of way, and then they break up and then she end up alone. It's always that story. It's always that story. This is nothing different. People keep on being like, oh, this movie is fire. No, they like the people who are in this movie. He's very good at getting people to be in his movies, but the story, child, it's the same story all the time. And then there's always like it's always some kind of interracial something going on, and it's always weird, if you ask me. And I feel like the last time we really heard Tyler Perry, we heard Tyler Perry talking about a woman need to go head on and be with a man, even if all he could do is pay the light bill. She need to go ahead on and be with him. And then in this movie, this man didn't have no money. He couldn't really pay for nothing, and that's why she was cheating on him. That's what it's the same. It's the same premise all the time. And I just feel like at some point, Tyler, we got to let it go. Also, Tyler Perry movies, I've said this, if you follow me on the internet, you know that I said Tyler Perry movies feel like he's starting to tell you a story about three people. He'll say one person ain't really all that important. Then you get part way through the story, and then he be like, oh, remember the person I told you that wasn't really important? Let me tell you about them now. Then he tell you their story. Then he stopped telling that story to go back to the original story. Then at the end of the movie, he tell you the ending to both stories at the same time. That's a Tyler Perry movie. You don't get a lot of character development out of nobody. Everything all comes out at the end, and you're supposed to just be like, oh, and then they call that twists and turns. It's not twists and turns. It's not twists and turns. It's incomplete thoughts is what it is. And then you feel like you got the thoughts completed because he tricks you into completing them yourself. Because if all the time you have to explain a Tyler Perry movie, you go, what he was trying to say was, he could have just said it. He could have just said it. Y'all know that you watch other movies where you don't need for anybody to say, well, what he was trying to say. I mean, he didn't really say it, but he was trying to say, just say it. At this point, does Kelly Rowland do a good job in the movie? Sure. Does anybody else do a good job in the movie? Sure. For a Sunday afternoon, Netflix chilling, we ain't going outside, we just eating snacks, still in my pajamas type movie, it ain't that bad. But is it fire? No. Is it great? No. Is it something to recommend? No. But if you scrolling through and you just like, oh, Tyler Perry movie on, fine. But I think that's the lane that he wants to be in. And if that's the lane you want to be in, then fine with me. It's not him right now that I have the issue with. It's some of y'all who be acting like y'all really saw cinematic mastery. Mastery, I don't know how you say it, but it ain't that. It's not worthy of any awards. It's just like, you know what? It's like Tubi movies. And if y'all like Tubi movies, then that's why y'all like this. And I'm not talking bad about people, but if you long as you know that this is Tubi movie-ish, then, and you like for Tubi movies is fire, then okay. In that category, then okay. Because we all know that a Tubi movie can't compete with a daggone Ava DuVernay movie any day. She just does better production. And we always have to understand that there are levels to everything. There's an A, a B, a C, and a D. And if you understand where you at and you keep on saying, I want to deliver to the D audience or the C audience, and you understand you are the C audience demographic that he's looking for, cool. Because I don't want to go in on Tyler Perry too hard no more, because I think I've done it enough. If you come on up, if you don't, the dog, if you don't agree, that's fine. I'm just letting you know that you don't really know what the point of that story was unless you fill in blanks for yourself. And you have to, if you don't agree that in mostly all of his movies, it is some man who doing the best he can, and these women, and they always have like minimal jobs, and these women have more money, and they will not accept this man who doesn't do as well as she think he should. So then they cheat with some man who they think is better or entertains them for a moment, and he always somehow leaves her embarrassed, and then she walk off by herself. It's always that. It's always that. A man just trying to do the best he can out here in life. Some black man trying to do the best he can out here in life, and the woman just not accepting that. And that's what this movie does too. And because this movie does that, I can't. I can't give it a high score, is what I mean. It ain't the worst movie that I've ever seen, because I've watched the Titanic too, and let me tell you, no. But it ain't up there. And I'm not gonna argue with y'all about whether it is or not, because it's not. Moving on to another thing I watched is I watched that Wendy Williams documentary, the first part. Some people say it was 2 parts, and then there's 2 parts again. And I don't know. I know I don't know if it was 2 parts, if it was 1 part, but I know it's a 2-day event, and I just watched day 1. And I just sad is all I can say. I'm sad watching it. I've been a fan of Wendy Williams for years. I talked about this on the last episode, that I don't believe in that. What's happening to her right now is her karma. I don't believe in any of that. I do believe that watching this, I've said many times on here that my mom has dementia. I believe watching this that I can now see things that were I can now see things that were signs that I didn't know were signs before. I now see them as signs. And because I see them as the signs, it's too late now. It's too late to apologize. It's too late. And sometimes, I regret a lot of how I handled learning that my mom had dementia, but it was during COVID, and there were lots of things that I didn't have access to. And so I don't feel like I made some of the best choices concerning my mother, but we here now. And my mom does have dementia. And a lot of what we saw on that episode or 2. I don't know if it's broken up. Like I said, I don't know if it's broken up in 2. So I'm going to keep calling it an episode. But a lot of what we saw on the first day of the documentary, it's called Where is Wendy Williams? Just her erratic behavior, and, the way that she spoke to people, and just not being very clear. Those were things that happened at my house, but I thought that this was the alcoholism symptoms. I did not know that these were symptoms of dementia. I didn't even know to look for dementia. Nobody talked about that to me. And I feel like, we don't have these discussions. A lot of people work and then they get life insurance because they're like, I just want to make sure my family is right. But number one, you don't get enough life insurance to cover your funeral and make sure your family's right. We'll talk about that on another time. But also, we don't talk to our family about what happens if these other things show up before you pass. Because dementia, strokes, heart attacks, breast cancer, any of these things that happen where sometimes your family can't speak for themselves and you want to know, what do you want me to do? We don't talk about those, and those are some of those other things that should be discussed. I know I didn't talk to my mom about them. Honestly, my mom got sick. She came home, and before there was time to breathe and live and be comfortable that she was even home, she got sick again, and we went downhill from there. So we didn't even have time to have a discussion about those things. The only thing I knew was my mom was adamant about, if I'm sick and in the ICU, I don't want my friends and family coming and looking at me like that. But that was the last time anybody was going to be able to see her for almost a full year. For almost a full year, my mom has missed the passing of family members she don't know. Her best friend passed last month. She don't know. But I didn't have a discussion to say, if your heart stops X amount of times, what do you want me to do? Or if you can't do this, what do you want me to do? Like, we didn't have those discussions. And watching this documentary, I want anybody who is listening to me know that you need to have those discussions. If you are 40 and over, you need to have them with your children and or whoever is your closest family to you if you don't have children. And if your parents are still rocking, you want to have this conversation with your parents too. Because in the moment, it becomes very hard. And let me tell you, my mom just got sick and went to the hospital this past week, and she needed to have a procedure done. I'm going to be very transparent here. My mom has a DNR. I had to give her one because every time my mom has something done, up until this last time, her heart stops. And then when they revive her, she comes back way worse than the last time. I believe that there's like a test for dementia or whatever. And I think that the highest is supposed to be like 30 or something. My mom is at a 6, which means that cognitively, I really don't know what's going on over there. My brother came to the hospital. My mom mislabeled him. And I didn't talk to my brother about how that made him feel. But I know for me, it made me sad listening to her not be able to definitively say who he was to her. You know? Now, this time, my mom's heart did not stop. But you still have to have a conversation about, so if something should happen, do you want us to not do anything? Do you want us to do a little bit of something? And then you have to go through all of what they are allowed to do again and again. It is a hard thing to do. And living with dementia and taking care of a person with dementia, if you don't know, I will let you know right now what there is a life expectancy for a person with dementia, because what happens is their brain continues to slow down functioning, which means there eventually comes a time when their brain just stops telling its organs what to do, and you just got to wait for it to run its course. Because mostly, other than the dementia, my mom don't have no health issues, nothing else. So we just here watching the time go by, sitting at the dock of the bay, because my mom does not know. If you ask her, she knows that I am her daughter. She never says my name unless she sees me with a name tag. She never says my name. Some days she does not know I'm her daughter. Some days she thinks I'm her sister. And going in and having her not know who you are, and watching her decline all the time, and then seeing her not know who your brother is, but still also knowing that she's related to you in some way, and saying that she wants to live with you even though you can't physically take care of her anymore. When I watched Wendy Williams on the screen, and I watched people criticize, well, why doesn't her son have, that boy is 21 years old, or he was 21 years old at the time. That's a lot of hot and heavy for you all to think is a responsibility that a 21-year-old who is still in or just had graduated from college to take on. financially and physically. That is a lot for a young man to take on, especially when a lot of this is brought on from her alcoholism and her drug use, which she has admitted that she had issue with. When we have that, what do you want this 21-year-old? When you was 21, think about it. When you was 21, do you really think that you was equipped mentally to handle the day in and day out care of a woman who's used to being out here in these streets, beautiful, and got all these people who's coming for her and wanting her to work and trying to convince you that she should do this and that, and you being able to fight off all these people at 21? No. I barely understand what I need to do for this woman as her guardian, and I'm 40. Because there's no prep for this. There's no prep for this. And if there is, nobody told me about it. So what if you're watching this or you're watching that doc, be easy on that young man, even when they like, oh, he spent 100K on Uber Eats. Y'all, he was not stealing her money because he spent 100K on Uber Eats in a year. I don't know how much I spend on Uber Eats, but I DoorDash or Uber Eats at least twice a week. It's $20 every time I do it, twice a week for a year. That's a good amount of my income myself. If this is a 21-year-old who's Uber eating for him and his dates, his girlfriend, his mama sometimes, his cousin when they coming over to play the game, they just Uber eat, and we really think that he's eating all that food by himself. He not. That's just off his Uber Eats account. Sometimes he's sending something over to the bro right quick, like, yeah, man, don't worry about it, I got you. All of that stuff. And delivery in other cities. If your city is expensive, what you think it's like in New York? What you think? Or Florida? Wherever they live. If you ain't never Uber Eats in that city, you can't judge what the prices are there. And if you think he was Uber eating some just McDonald's, you must have lost your mind. He's getting Nubu. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I ain't never been there because I don't got them pockets, but his mama did. And so, I'm sure that he's getting expensive meals, steakhouse all the time. Okay, he's not Ubering eating $1,000 worth of $100,000 worth of Wendy's and Subway. Could that be on there every now and then? Sure. But if you think that he is not ordering in food for, him and his girlfriend from somewhere fancy, if you think that he ain't go a good 2 weeks of just ordering lunch and dinner, because he's 21 and his mama spent $120,000 on a birthday party for him, that's the kind of life he's used to living. Y'all can't base your pocket off of what he would do. If you Uber eating your pretty little piece of penny, what you think he doing? Okay? I think, it's a lot. It's hard. And anybody who's listening to this, going through any of this, the beginning parts, if you see some warning signs, go to the doctor with your parents, even if they don't want you to go. Just be like, you know what? I'll take the day off. I'm going to come with you. Let's just see what they talking about. If you see any signs, because you could just say, I'm concerned for them. The doctor don't got to tell you your parents' business if you ain't got no guardian, but you can say to them, I'm concerned for them, which may spike the doctor to next visit. Just ask them some questions that you don't got to be privy to. But we want to know. I know some of us watch This Is Us and we all think that if dementia is coming, the doctor going to tell and they going to sit y'all down and have it. That's not how it happens most of the time. Especially when it is because of alcohol and drug use. That's not how it happens. That's not how it happens. So I'm going to watch the rest of this, and then I'm going to do a live because I have a couple of people that I also know personally who have been going through this themselves. So if you listening to this late, sorry you missed the live. If you're listening to this early, hope you catch it. But I will be doing a live after that documentary so that I can let some people vent, give some information, and we could just, talk and give support to one another. But are y'all watching? It's on. It's called Where is Wendy Williams? It is on. I want to say it's on Lifetime, but you got to pay for it. Like there's like a paywall or something that you got to do for it. But once you do, once you do, like there's like a free Philo. You can get a free subscription for 7 days. Go ahead on and get it. Cancel it as soon as you get it, so that it's canceled. But you'll be able to watch the documentary, the 2-part documentary on it. It's worth a watch, y'all. Wendy Williams was the girl in that demographic for a good long time. And to see the decline, I wonder what the purpose of this documentary was for, because I believe whatever the purpose was, it ain't that now. And as far as we've been hearing, the family does not even know where she's at right now, that she has some kind of court-appointed guardianship and all of that, y'all, is stuff that I did not know people could do. But you could lose the guardianship of your parents if you are not careful about how you're handling them. So you want to be careful, okay? Pay attention to the signs, but watch the thing. Like I said, it's a free subscription on Philo. You can get a free Philo subscription for 7 days, a 7-day trial. Sign up for it and cancel it immediately. It's coming on Lifetime, I believe, with the subscription. I think I don't know. I watched it on Philo. I just searched where is Wendy Williams and it came up. So figure that out. But that's all I got, y'all. So this has been a great experience. Again, every time we have a conversation, I love it. Don't forget, I am on TikTok heavy. Sometimes I post up on Instagram, but you ain't really gonna find me. Don't look for me over there on Facebook because the people who's over there, I entertain them a little bit, but I don't stay there. Okay. TikTok, if you want to find it, it's in the show notes. It will be down there. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, you've been listening to JusSayin podcast with me, Danny. Bye, y'all.